What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Awakening World. I'm really excited because tonight we're going to learn about one of the most fascinating figures in our history, Mother Mary, the mother of Yeshua, also known as Jesus. And we're blessed because we have with us the author of this extraordinary book, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, and it's Marguerite Rigoglioso. She's with us right here directly. And as soon as I knew that we would have an opportunity to have Marguerite on the show, I immediately said, I sure hope that Eden Amadora can co-host with me. And yes, Eden said she could. So we're going to be having a lot of opportunity to really learn from Eden, because of course she has extraordinary research in the whole rise of the divine feminine. We're going to learn all about the book and learn some really fascinating things. So please welcome. And I want to welcome all the people watching on our broadcast partners. Thank you to the Sign Network that gets us out to over 100 Facebook groups and pages, Conscious Awakening Network, Humanities Team, all of our friends. Thank you for being with us. And before we get to Eden and Marguerite, we are going to start the show the way we always like to start, with music. And so rockin' and rollin' will be the Divine Mother over the shoulder of our beloved house musical artist, Omar Shar.
So namaste and welcome everybody, and I am really actually excited for tonight's show. Mother Mary is my sister, as she is all of our sisters, and I was really happy to find this beautiful image of Mother Mary today with light streaming from her hands. And so this song I'm going to play now is called Beloved, and of course she is our beloved, and with the divine feminine rising in all of our hearts, I think this is just a really auspicious show ahead of us. So if we're ready, here we go. time far away from here. When I saw you in my mind, and no one that I talked to could hear. You, I'd say we're more than we think, we're more than we feel, we're more than we know. Hear me. I feel your heartbeat in the land, your breath upon the wind, and you touch me in those places that I fear. I hear you running through my veins, laughing as you go. You fill me with your life, you fill me with your love, you lift me up to see your face. Beloved, deep inside. Beloved, I can no more hide from your sight, from your might. Though I might wait a while and cry for all those yesterdays that passed away like the clouds that made me what I am inside. Beloved, I can no more hide.
Perfect song. Perfect song. Twinkle, we do twinkling here for Omashar. Thank you. You know, as Dia Therese wrote, Omashar has chosen the exact appropriate piece, and I feel his heart pouring forth. Love, love, love. Absolutely. Thank you so much, brother. I'm going to read just a couple comments and then introduce Eden, who will give a wonderful introduction to Marguerite. And George Noble right off the bat says, welcome, Marguerite. And good evening all from Santa Rosa. We've got friends from all over. Beatrice wrote, my relationship with Mother Mary covered 30 years of intimate sessions with ocular therapist Dr. Lisa Sloan. And that was my beginning of reconnecting with Yeshua. So thank you for that, Dia. And again, we're reading some of the comments of what people had to say about their relationship to Mother Mary. Susan Bloomquist is ready for an auspicious show. Absolutely. And yes, DR, he is the divine Omashar. Susan writes, greetings, tribe from Pomoland. My relationship with Mother Mary is lifelong. I grew up in the Catholic Church with her statues, and once a year there was a celebration for the mother, and I always prayed to her often. So thank you for that. And again, people from Florida, Minneapolis, of course, California. So it's very, very beautiful to see all the people that are with us. All right, I'm going to turn it over to, I think, one of the most wonderful emanations of the divine feminine in human form that I'm blessed to know. When we look at Eden Amadora, obviously we see a very physically beautiful woman. But I want you to know I'm so blessed to be her friend and to get to know her. She has got such a beautiful heart. As beautiful as she is on the outside, it's that extraordinary heart and her dedication to the rise of the divine feminine while staying in compassion for the masculine is exquisite. So I'm so happy that you're here, and welcome co-host Eden, and I'm gonna let you go ahead
Thank you so much. You're going to make me tear up before we even get started here.
Oh, good. Well, I think it's gonna be one of those evenings. It's gonna be a powerful night, and thank you.
Yeah, I could feel how special tonight is. And just a little wink from the goddess. Last time I looked, there's 33 of us here live on Zoom, and that is no coincidence because the goddess loves threes. So we're held in her grace. And I'm so excited to talk to Marguerite and bring her in a moment. I'm just going to introduce her to those who are just resonating with Mother Mary and have not yet met Marguerite. Marguerite is a multi-book author who is fascinated with the goddess. She is devoted to the goddess. She writes about divine conception, virgin births, and multiple cultures. I was looking when Omashar was playing, and I'm like, I wanted to know the names of your other books. And I was like, Miraculous Conception, The Cult of Divine Birth in Ancient Greece, Virgin Mother, Goddesses of Antiquity. So we can feel your passion and your dedication to this mystery and this miracle that you're revealing for us. And I know you're an adjunct teacher. You were at the Dominican College, and that your books are touching many, many people who already perhaps had a Catholic upbringing. Now, that being said, it's opening up these revelations to so much more than what the church may have ever wanted us to know about Mother Mary. So the name of this book, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, is really exciting to me and many others, and especially when you talk about the power of the divine feminine and for planetary and personal healing, because boy, do we need it. This is the time. It's time to bring in the divine feminine to assist us. So Marguerite, I'm so happy you're here. I'm so excited to be with you and learn more. And I think I would just ask to simply start, if you could choose one of the secrets that you think is the really top, if the book is called The Secret Life of Mother Mary, what's something that might be a revelation to us? It might even be a surprise or shocking to those who've been pretty deep into more of the traditional Christian dogma.
Yeah, that is such a good question. I think it would be, first of all, thank you, Eden, for that, and Scott for having me, and Omashar for that beautiful music. And we can talk more about the name Beloved as it relates to Mother Mary, by the way. But I would say that the biggest secret about Mother Mary is that she was essentially what we might call the first pope.
Mhm.
In that she was the originator of Yeshua, Jesus, the Christos Sophia, coming to the planet. And then she was his teacher and mentor. And then she was Magdalene's teacher and mentor. And then she was the teacher and mentor of the entire community tribe that gathered around him, known as the disciples and the apostles. And she was a real power woman and the first real leader who stepped out after the resurrection. She also orchestrated the resurrection according to Sri Kaleshwar, the late Hindu saint, which we can talk about. And she was a healer, an exorcist, a teacher of the mysteries, and a great adept of the womb, to the point where she knew how to conceive within her body miraculously. So there are several secrets that I've mentioned in there, and we can go into any of them.
Yeah, I definitely want to dive deeper. And one thing I'm aware of right away is that what was happening then, 2000 plus years ago, is very different than what we know as Christianity. So we had the Holy Roman Empire, which really, became this ruling force for so long that it kind of evolved in to the Vatican, to the Catholic Church. And I know that scriptures were chosen carefully for a narrative they wanted to tell. And that besides Mother Mary as the Virgin Mother, there was very little known about this role that you're talking about, the equivalent to a pope, which really literally is like Papa, which is father. So the big Papa is the patriarchy. And then here we have the Divine Mother embodied, which I know Tom Kenyon in his book about Mary Magdalene, the channeled work, talks about the difference between Magdalene as a level of initiate and Mother Mary being an embodiment, like a
Yeah.
full embodiment. So I would love to go a little bit deeper into this being as what some might even call an ascended master,
Yeah.
and how she had so much wisdom and was able to do things like orchestrate the resurrection. Can we start with, where did that come from? Where did her wisdom and power come from? Was she trained in an initiatory priestess training in a mystery school? What kind of being was she in those days that was kind of erased from history?
Yeah, you're really getting at it here. And that's fascinating to hear that Tom Kenyon definitely distinguished Mary Magdalene and Mother Mary in that way, because that is how I hold them as well. Mary Magdalene is the very deep initiate, on her way to the ascension, the ascension, and she's still a guardian watchtower of all of us. She's a way shower, a hand holder, leading us. And Mother Mary was really the one who had her full ascension, like to goddesshood. That is why we don't know if she was a woman or a goddess, because she was both. She had, according to Sri Kaleshwar, she had numerous lifetimes, many lifetimes. And in the lifetime that we know her as Mother Mary, she herself was virgin born of her mother, meaning she was a high advanced avatar. She wasn't even born in the traditional way, so she had extra powers. And so put it all together, and this was a woman who was on the road to becoming one with Mother Divine, and she did it as she crossed out of her body at the end of her life. So,
I have
yes.
shivers all over as I'm listening to you. I'm sure
Uh-huh.
our listeners
Yeah.
are riveted right now, because this is a story that we have not been told. The
No.
feminine has been so erased from his story, and even at the advent of the printing press, there was no she, her, woman included in the type of words. So we're revealing something so important right now about the truth of her position in consciousness, when we hear so much about the avatar powers of Master Yeshua. So
Yeah.
please continue a little more with this level of ascended master that she was. What I'm sensing is we're talking about rainbow body level
Yeah.
initiate.
Yeah, yeah. First of all, she really was, she walked as an ascended master. So by virtue of all these lifetimes and by virtue of her divine conception, she was divinely conceived. And by virtue of the fact that, according to Rudolf Steiner, she was the reincarnation of Isis. So she was a netter. She was a walking giant on the earth, essentially, in one way or another. And so imagine being in the presence of one such as this woman. And so she was well poised. She had developed and cultivated her soul over lifetimes to have that final ascension where, so many of us are talking about what is it to ascend. She experienced the ultimate version of that, which again is to become one with the Sophia Christos, right? That's why she can operate now as both an individual advisor and healer and a global presence. She is one, she is many, she is personal. She can be talking to each of us differentially in different ways. According to who we are, she can fractalize like that, right? And so, and Magdalene can do that in her own way too, I believe. But Mother Mary is the full pleroma, we might say, the full heavenly realm now. Okay.
Yeah.
And so a lot of this is documentable. All right. It's not all just intuition or channeled material from this, that, or the other person. We can find the material about how she was born divinely of her mother in the document known as the Infancy Gospel of James, for example, which was originally called Birth of Mary, talk about erasing the feminine. So she just had high level abilities, which is why she was able to bring then an avatar through her body without by becoming one in the bridal chamber with herself, that Gnostic tradition, that Gnostic sacrament of the bridal chamber. She had it perfected where she became the androgyne, the holy whole one unto herself, the virgin, the sovereign, so that she was able to use her womb powers to conceive this great star being. And so, she orchestrated the whole Christ movement, essentially. And so, again, because she had these high level abilities, this high level knowledge, she was able to teach Jesus from the time he was in her womb. And this is very much the work of Sri Kaleshwar, that she would confer the empowerments to him in the womb through the prayer work that she would do. She had a regimen of her prayer life, the talking with the angels that Kaleshwar says, and then the use of these mantras, these sound syllable practices. She would be repeating, conferring this information, this knowledge, these light codes to Jesus, Yeshua, so that when he was born, he was quite ready. And then she was able to raise him throughout his early life. So, she's a much, much greater being. I mean, I almost wanted to call the book The Unveiling of Mother Mary, because she has been so cloaked, so hidden, so disparaged, so reduced to this, frankly, unappealing image of femininity to some of us, in the sense of a virgin who was meek and mild and did everything she was told. But rather, she was very active all the way up until, the time that she had an ascension ritual. And yes, she did go rainbow body, and that is documented in the Dormition narratives, where a great light appeared. Her body wasn't even found in the linen garments, where her body was entombed and so forth. So she fully went into the light, as befits a great guru, a great sadhu, a great master, and a great woman becoming goddess.
So powerful.
I'm going to come in for a moment with a question. This is So fascinating. And I think it's a good question from Susan, one of our viewers, Zoomers. She writes, I find this perspective quite beautiful. Can you help us to understand where you obtain these knowings? I've got a follow-up to that. First of all, I did not know about Rudolf Steiner, who I'm a big fan of. And that's huge. I mean, what a crossing, connecting Rudolf Steiner to Mother Mary and his perspective that she was Isis. I mean, that I'm kind of like, wow, that's something.
Let's just all lie down and breathe for a while. Just
Yeah,
that
that's
one.
like really
I
bringing
know. I mean, these are
several worlds
bombs,
together, right?
right? So you can find that in his book, Isis Mary Sophia, for example.
Okay.
And in my book, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, I definitely cite everywhere that I'm getting the information, so you can go in, double check. But just briefly, as I mentioned, one of the main documents is called the Infancy Gospel of James, about Mother Mary's conception by her mother Anne and her rearing, how she was trained, even to refer back to your question, by first her mother Anne or Hannah, and then the virgins of the temple in Anne's room, in Anne's sanctuary that she created for her, and then how Mother Mary eventually was given over to the temple at age 3, further raised by the virgins, trained presumably in these divine birth practices, among other, avatar abilities, Siddhic powers, and so forth. And then eventually her conception and birthing of Jesus, it goes all the way through to that, to the birthing of John the Baptist as well. And that Mother Mary and Elizabeth probably were in the same group ritual to bring avatars in. Okay, so I talk about that there. There are other documents, the Dormition narratives that you can look into. And then there are some biographies, the Life of the Virgin, those kinds of texts that go back to maybe 500 BC, or sorry, 500 of the Common Era. One might have been written by the confessor Maximus. And there are other earlier gospels, like the Gospel of Bartholomew, where she is mentioned, the Gospel of Philip, the Gnostic Gospel of Philip. Okay, so I cite all of that, and you can trace it, so you can find what has actually been here all along, hidden in plain sight, but just kind of in dusty shelves that we didn't pay attention to. Not to mention then what Steiner has said about Mary, even though I don't fully agree with, some of his conclusions about her, but what Sri Kaleshwar, the late Hindu saint, said about her, which we can also go into. So those are just some of the sources that I utilize, and I think it is important to be grounded in these sources so that we can see, oh my goodness, there's been a long, venerable, documented tradition around Mother Mary that just has not been given very much the time of day.
I'm just popping
One last,
to ask more questions. I'm
I
like,
know.
everything you're saying, Margaret, is leading me to like, wow, it is a revelation. And we're living in a time of revelation. And there's a lot of religious conditioning that would have us even, be wary or fear words like the apocalypse, when really in Greek it means the unveiling or the lifting of the lid, right? The opening to see clearly. And as you're sharing, I can kind of just feel the density of the imprinted collective consciousness around what you can and can't say about religious figures, and how things could be appearing heretical, blasphemous, whatever words people might feel. And then there's this awakening world that's listening for resonance and really leaning back into, well, why not? If there are avatars and Hindu saints like Neem Karoli Baba, Babaji, who can do these incredible feats, have cities like bilocation, why not the Christian saints? Why not a female Christian sainted being. And so as I'm listening, I'm really excited to be a part of this revelation, that there's so much more to this story, and to imagine that a woman could be a trained initiate, alchemist, to have these kind of siddhis, which is a basic Sanskrit word for those that don't know, that means kind of superpowers, and that she could pave the way for a higher level of consciousness on this planet. So I think in the vein of this, in the same river of this light you're bringing in, can you speak a little bit around how there were many Marys in the biblical texts? And later, some of them were combined. There were later popes that created stories to diminish the Marys, to kind of put them in these lower kind of attendant categories, rather than the powerful wisdom keepers, teachers, leaders that they really were. And more about the name Mary, because we know even the word virgin is packed with more information, as is the name Mary. So if
Yeah.
you could go a little bit deeper into some of the etymology and some of the story behind the Marys.
Yes, will do. Brilliantly put, all the threads you're bringing together. And I just wanted to take a moment to acknowledge some of the people who are here with us live, who've been studying this material for years and providing venues for others, or doing healings along these lines. Christy Michaels, dear friend, Pamela Minton, Diana, where are you? Diana Kelly. I may be forgetting people or not seeing everybody. I know that George, you have been quite active in this domain as well. So just really wanting to say hi and honor, because it's feeling like a little bit of a homecoming here. And that I'm, not alone in this work. And actually, Christy was the one who first gave me a platform in 2009 to present my material about Mother Mary and virgin birth in the San Francisco Bay Area. And that was, although I had been teaching and so forth, that was just really the beginning of a priestesshood ministry, if you will, for me and many of us, right? So the idea of the Marys, this is a lineage of women, a lineage of priestesses. That's why we have so many Marys floating around, not only the Christian Bible, but the Hebrew Bible. And it was a very common name that, of course, was in the Greek, Maria, in the Hebrew or Aramaic, Mariam or Mariam. And that can be traced back to the Egyptian name or epithet Mary, that we transliterate as Mary. We might say Meri or Mery is how we would transliterate it, but this was it was a term that meant the lover, the one who is love, and the beloved, all rolled into one. It was a title and an epithet that would be connected, given to kings and queens and priestesses, to describe them or honor them, often in connection with one or more of the Egyptian goddesses or gods. So Mary Taten, these names mean, oh, beloved of, the beloved of the divine, right? So it's a long-standing sacred title that these women had and then took on as a personal name. Like a lot of times titles become personal names, like Merlin and so forth, right? So Mary is another one. And so when we think of this as a lineage, we understand why Mother Mary's very half sister would have also been named Mary. Another little bomb there, that like, where do we find this is in the documentation, that after Anne gave birth to Mary and gave her to the temple, she had another girl And she named her Parogita, which means little hen, but later gave her the name Mary again. And so why would a mother name two girls Mary? Well, if you're considering this as an honorific title, you can understand what that was all about and why we have Mary Magdalene, why we have Mary Salome, why we have, all of these other Marys. So these are women who were sacred women, holy women, carrying on these alchemical mysteries of the womb, of the heart and the love, of the seeing, the divine seeing. And, this is what I'm attempting to bring to life in my own Marian Magdalene priestess training, which we just concluded the first round of this, and we'll be enrolling again in September for those who are curious and interested, because this is about really taking on these titles, these mantles, understanding what they are, reawakening these capacities within ourselves, and walking as the Mary and the Magdalene, and bringing the service to the world.
Beautiful, Marguerite. Let's put that link for that program you just mentioned in the chat. Is that there, Scott, about Mary and the Magdalene Priestess training? So if you
Yeah.
look in the chat under the sevensistersmysteryschool.com, there, oh, Scott's going to show it. That's even better.
Yeah, so I'm going to show a few things, actually. The main website, and I'm going to read this slowly for our friends watching on Facebook and YouTube. So the main website, it's the number 7 spelled out, sevensistersmysteryschool.com. That's like the main place to go. And then if you go / Mary-book-meditations. Now I put that link into the chat box for our Zoom members, but I want to leave this up for a minute for our friends watching on YouTube and Facebook, because this is a wonderful way to get started. Definitely put your name and email address in, just like I just did. And then we get to do all the CAPTCHA stuff. Oh my gosh. All right. CAPTCHA, I do it and it wants me to do. Oh, I made it
Marguerite
too.
didn't know that they had a CAPTCHA there.
You
All
got
right.
a CAPTCHA going on, kiddo.
Okay.
But at least we got past the fire hydrants.
What's exciting is that
Yeah, because see that what you just were filling out, Scott, those are the meditations, the free meditations that correspond with the chapters of the books of the book. So each meditation, if you scroll a little bit further down,
yeah, here we go.
gives you
Right.
an experience with Mother Mary, either a healing or an empowerment, and each one corresponds with the theme of the chapter in the book. So it's really good to go back and forth and then have the experience that I basically have, channeled these meditations in my Mary and Magdalene Empowerment Circle, which has been running for a number of years. And so we've extracted them, and then I found the ones that correspond with the chapters. So that's very rich. A lot of people have quite enjoyed that.
If you don't mind, I want to actually read the chapter titles just to give people a sense of what this wonderful book, which I'm blessed to have.
Oh yeah, these titles are actually the titles of the meditations, but
so they correspond with the chapter, but it's
Yeah.
not the actual title of the chapter.
yeah, exactly.
Got it. I'll just read a few of them. Mother Mary as midwife, rebirthing your own inner divine child. Experience a powerful visualization in which Mother Mary helps us midwife the birth of our own divine child. I'm going to do that one. Receive and embody divine maternal nurturance, healing mother wounds with Mary. We all have mother wounds. Chanting the sacred name of Mary, receiving comfort and clarity through Mother Mary's holy womb. Divine love with Mother Mary and Magdalene, and I know that Eden's going to be asking you about that. Drawing on Mary as your ascension mentor, merging with Jesus and Mary in their, I'm going to need you to,
Valence. she valence, their valence as the she or fae, fairy
Oh, I'm
realm
going
of
to ask you
people.
about that. That's one of my questions. There's
Yeah.
so many good questions to ask.
Wow.
I know that we're going to get a little mini meditation, and Marguerite, it's so wonderful that we can get a taste of it. I know it's going to be just like a drop in the pool of what these deeper meditations are. And I'm feeling like maybe that would be a wonderful thing to do sooner than later, and just entrain us even more into that spirit.
Yeah.
Are you feeling to do that soon? I can
Yeah.
ask questions afterward. I have
Yeah, let's do that just to amplify the energy a little bit more here and really call on these great beings. So yes, let's do. So I'm inviting you, if you feel called, to just close your eyes and go inward a little bit and feel your toes and your fingertips and the weight of your body being held by Mother Earth. Just giving yourself some deep breaths. As you really tune inward to what's being stimulated within you, as we are going through these unveilings together. Perhaps some of this you have known about, perhaps you haven't. And just feeling the vibration within you that's getting activated by hearing Mother Mary in her higher valence. And as we call in her presence, we call you in, Blessed Mother. We call you in, Blessed Magdalene. We call you in, Blessed Mary Parugita. We call you in, all of the Marys. As we do so, we see them in a greater light now. And by virtue of doing so, we awaken the greater light within us, for they are but mirrors to our own self and soul, whatever our sex. They are just here, turning on what's already inside of us a bit more, activating the light codes, activating the knowing, opening our understanding, receiving the revelation for our personal life, for our planetary life, for our galactic life. Just spend a moment here, just feeling the Marys encircling you as an individual, saying hello to you. Welcome, dear sister, dear brother. So glad to be with you. And we feel them encircling our entire community gathering, which is growing exponentially as this video goes out into the world. And just allow yourself to feel Mother Mary as a personal mother to you. Someone who is there for your comforting, your healing, the soothing and salving of your soul. And someone who is there as your mentor, ready, willing, able, and available at whatever level you wish to commune with her. Knowing that if this is your wish, you can deepen your relationship with Mother Mary going forward. Good, and taking a deep breath in and out, just really enjoying that energy trickling in and activating your DNA. Blessed be.
Blessed be. Wow, I feel so filled with light. Wasn't that beautiful, everyone? Just feel that inner radiance. Thank you, Marguerite. As I was in that vast sea of light, I was remembering in the Divine Feminine Mystery School training I've been a part of for over 16 years, we have this expression, why have you crossed the vast sea? And I think about the name Mary and Mariam and Mar and Mer, and it also means drop of the sea, a star of the sea, of the sea. And my sense is it's a very different ocean of consciousness. And it brings me to the next question for you, Seven Sisters Mystery School teacher. What does Mother Mary have to do with our star kindred and the Pleiades?
Oh my goodness. Yes, this has been a big topic for me in the priestess training. And then I also connected with William Henry, whom some of you might be familiar with him and his work, really helping me to make these final connections of awareness that the mission and the reality of the Pleiades is really the mission and the reality of the Sophia Christos family, largely speaking. And it's a mystery as to which is nested in which, is the Christos family nested in the Pleiades, or are the Pleiades nested in the Christos family? I've begun to understand that the Christos Sophia mission is nested within the Pleiades, that the Pleiades are like a mothership of it. And in an oracle ceremony that I did, what I received is that, so what we may know, what I've been talking about for many years, and some may be familiar with this, is that the Pleiades are our world mothers. There were 7 star beings that came from different planets of the Pleiades, or different stars of the Pleiades, and seeded humanity, large portions of humanity. This was one of the advents of star DNA to us, the 7 Pleiadian mothers, the 7 Pleiadian sisters. And what I received is that Mother Mary, because each of those gave birth to an avatar who then created lineages on the planet. And this is a worldwide story in most cultures. What I received is that Mother Mary is the 8th Pleiadian sister, that
Wow.
she gave birth to then another avatar who, with Mary Magdalene, then spread their DNA all over the planet. And by virtue of the timing, the DNA of Yeshua and Mary Magdalene has now gone all around the planet, and boom. So we all have that DNA, just like we all have the DNA of the 7 sisters of the Pleiades. And so what we can do is access that DNA, what we're calling DNA, whatever that means in our body, mind, spirit system. We can access it, pluck it like a harp, turn it on, and receive the information and the healings and the gnosis that we need from that. So that's just a little taster. Again, much more in the Mary and Magdalene priestess training and other things that I've shared with people, but hopefully that will get us going a little further.
So exciting. Do you touch upon it in the book as well? Do you speak anything about the star connection?
I do so more in the Mystery Tradition of Miraculous Conception, the previous book, which focuses on Mother Mary's divine conception of Jesus, how that's part of a tradition, a worldwide tradition of virgin birth priestesses, and how it relates to the Pleiades. So that's, as you know, 7 virgin mothers of the world. So that's where you'll find much of that. And I talk about the Pleiades quite a bit in The Cult of Divine Birth in Ancient Greece, my very first book.
When I was in the south of France, I visited Lourdes, and we hear about Mother Mary's many visitations from Mexico, Our Lady of Guadalupe, to Portugal, Our Lady of Fatima, to Our Lady of Lourdes, and the miracles that she's credited for. In Lourdes, the healing waters, and how people, when I was there, not last summer, but the summer before, there were people from all over the world singing, praying, still very, it's an alive space, collecting the water. And their love for her is so strong. My sense is that as the divine feminine is rising more into collective consciousness to balance the world that, we've been very out of balance, that Mother Mary is a primary leading emanation in this. As you've said, she may be associated with Isis, with other goddess figures across time and cultures. There was an image in a church that had the reliquary below of Magdalene's skull, supposedly, that had a statue of Mother Mary coming out of a giant clam shell. And I thought, how wild that these goddess archetypes, these symbols are being kind of merged between ancient Venusian goddess cults and now the Christian Divine Mother figure. So, is there anything else you would share about the ways that she has been coming and guiding us, and in your life, how we can connect or call her as an interdimensional ascended master? How can we have this kind of contact with her?
Yeah, yeah, it's simple. You just ask and you just sit down and have a cup of tea or a cup of cacao with her. Yes, she is an expression of the sacred feminine writ large, who crosses many cultures now and can appear in rainbow form, whatever culture, whatever image that an individual is meaningful to an individual. She is that, right? She is that to you. So go with the images that mean something to you about Mother Mary. And if you do not like the blue cloaked figures, then let's create and draw and describe some more, based on what's in my book. Let's say, let's start creating those liberated, sovereign, freed, masterful images of Mother Mary, who can then continue to be role models for us through even the visualization of her in that way. Yeah, she's operating on many levels, and whatever it is that the Catholic Church did or didn't do, she still managed to get through it. She's still there in her essence, as is Yeshua, as is Magdalene. Through all of these unveilings over the decades, we are understanding this now. And again, they are personal helpers, allies, healers. Just close your eyes, go inward, as we just did before. Say a prayer that you wish to have greater communication with Mother Mary, that you wish her to be your mother. Diana Kelly, who's here, taught me that Mother Mary can remother you. Not only that, but she can regestate you. So how many nights, over how many months, over how many years did I put myself in Mother Mary's womb when I was having PTSD from all the trauma of my life, and just have her regestate me, remother me, heal me, that kind of thing. So again, she's very personal, and she's there as a spiritual mentor. Just develop a relationship with her as you would with any friend. You just have to begin to speak with her, and you have to cultivate that relationship, cultivate her qualities. That's what we do in the Mary and Magdalene priestess training. I have the virtues, these guided meditations with the virtues, the good old traditional virtues, kind of dusting them off and recasting them. Like, why would we ever want chastity? You know, what the heck does that mean? You know, so understanding sovereignty, right? Not chastity, sovereignty. And all of these various qualities, these character qualities that we can develop in ourselves. So we are untethering her, unchaining her from the negative imagery that has been used actually to control women and diminish women. And we are now, you know, raising her up. I mean, seeing her rise from the sea and come into our world and go into the stars and teach us from those perspectives.
I've brought Diana on camera for a moment. She's been on the show before. And so, Marguerite, if you want to have a glass of water or take a breath. Diana, is there anything you'd like to add to this part of the conversation?
Yeah. Well, so, my personal experience started as a little girl with being raised Catholic, but I got reached out to her in a really hard time in my life, and she came right away. And she was, it was like, for me, she was approachable. She was a mother, she was a woman. I was in a place where I couldn't quite reach out to the masculine God that we were raised with. And she stuck with me from that point on. I think it was 1992. And there were times in my life after that I used to feel, you ever see the little kids walking in kindergarten and they hold onto the rope crossing the street? That's what I felt like, that she was pulling me along. And I just was willing and open to her. So that's what I just will say is she is there, and especially in these times, she is waiting for people that have open hearts to her to just reach out.
Yeah. Yeah.
Beautiful. Thank you.
To assist. And, one thing I've learned, I mean, that is so beautiful. And I really so appreciate those teachings from Diana years ago, whom I do thank in the book, along with Christy and others. What I realize also is that, Mother Mary is here as a personal healer, and she's also not here to be worshiped. She's just here to be a model for what is actually within us already, that divine anthropos, okay, that they would, as they named it in the Gnostic material, meaning the divine, true human, the divine human, the angelic human. So in that way, she's both, again, a mother and a mentor. And that's what I love, because they're not about infantilizing us, even though, like, I'm like, Mother Mary, hold me. But she is about raising us up to our status as ascended masters. And so that's really exciting too, because we can work with her at whatever level we want. And sometimes I'm working with her in one way, and sometimes I'm working with her in another way. And she is me. She is you. I am that.
I'm so glad you're speaking to this, Marguerite. This, for me, is the primary distinction between a holistic spiritual life and the old paradigm of needing like a savior. The program that we've been in that victimizes us in a way.
Yeah, keeps us down, keeps us not empowered, not in our true power.
Right. You can love Jesus and walk in the heart, feeling him nearer than near. And you can embody those values and qualities that he spoke of and she taught him, Mother Mary's original teachings, without separating and needing another figure between you and the divine. And that is such a key in the world right now for sovereignty, for spiritual sovereignty. So thank you for illuminating that. I have recently written a song. Scott, you want to say something first?
Yeah.
Okay, go
It's
ahead.
in perfect timing. We're going to go
Yeah.
to the song in a moment, but I wanted to just have either of you come across Annie Kirkwood? She wrote the book Mother's Message for the World. By any chance?
Read
Diana is raising her hand. Okay. So this is a cute story that kind of I'll bring Diana up for this too, since she knows Annie. Way back in 2001, I was producing a show called Strange Universe, and we hosted a big conference down in the Yucatan called the Prophets Conference. Prophets from all over the world came in, and I was producing the whole thing, and I was interviewing all the people. And one of the least known people who made the biggest impression on me was a woman named Annie Kirkwood. And Annie was raised Jewish, but she actually had a visitation in her living room from Mother Mary, who gave her a message, which she put into the book. And my favorite line is when Mother Mary shows up in Annie's living room, and Annie says to her, "Why me? I'm not even Catholic." Mother Mary says, "Don't worry, dear, neither am I." And that stuck with it. That was 20 years ago or 24 years ago. So it stuck with me all those years. But
That's right.
just before we go into Eden's song, which I'm really looking forward to, since we are talking about this, in Marguerite's book, which I've really been enjoying, she acknowledges something I didn't know about Marguerite, which is that she lost her human mother at an early age. And I would love for you to share a little bit about how that has influenced your journey in losing the human mother to finding the divine mother, because that seems to be something, if you don't mind my asking, because I know
Oh, no, not at all. Not at all. It's an integral key part for me of this whole journey is the loss of my own mother when I was 10. She died of complications due to lupus. And that was just the big descent and the big initiation into death realms. And it was a lot to digest and the beginnings of my discovery point of spirituality, essentially. And from there was so much trauma that happened, so many difficult things that I had to deal with and cope with and struggle through with this mission that I had of, being of service. And so it led me, I think, to be far more open to the feminine presence in a large way. And I really started looking at the whole goddess movement. I was very, very intrigued by that, and then realized there was a goddess in my own backyard, Mother Mary. And so it's like there's a long story, and I talk about some of it in one of the chapters of the book. But fast forward to most recently, August of 2024, and I had a specific medicine journey where I was working with a woman who is a psychopomp, and she helps people connect with their beloveds who are crossed over on the other side. And imagine this, 52 years later, like I've done all this oracle work, this and that. And I would occasionally flicker on my mother, but I never really fully would call her in. I mean, I didn't know how to do it. It was terrifying to me on some level. And through this particular medicine and with the guidance of this woman who was very well versed in going back and forth, her own son had taken his life, and, she found him on the other side and resurrected him. And, now he works with her as a guide for this work. My intention was to call in Mother Mary and call in the spirit of my mother, and that did happen. And I went into the seventh dimensional realm, and it was the healing of a lifetime. And everything in my life has shifted since then because I was able to really fully feel the holding of Mother Mary, the connection with divine source through Mother Mary as the representation of that. And then the safe calling in and presencing of the spirit of my mother. Wow, uncanny, and then just understanding on the bigger level what had happened, why all that had happened, how all of it had been fully perfect and ordained, all part of my mission, all part of what I needed. And there was so much relief and release in all of that, knowing that there is source creator, divine mother, that my mother is on her own journey because I could feel it, that I am released of a lot of that suffering. And it has just really, really changed my life such that, I went back to California a month ago or so. I was sorry I wasn't able to see everybody over there, but I was able to have reconciliation with a lot of people because I realized that a lot of my actions had been coming out of pain, trauma, fear, sense of lack, sense of disconnection. And I wish I had been that whole or more whole healed person when I was living in California, but that's all perfect too, So it's just like, this is all just part of this ongoing Marian journey. And each of us has our own version of that, or can, be it Mother Mary, be it Yeshua, be it some other form of the sacred feminine, sacred masculine, be it ancestors, whatever it is, whatever it takes to feel that connection with Source Creator. This Sophia Christos family is just one emanation of possibility for that, and a good one, because by virtue of colonization, they've ended up touching many people, and so there's this silver lining to all of that, right? So that's just part of that story, that's not even in the book because it happened after I wrote the book, and even though in the book I talk about other Mother Mary miracles of healing and other boons that I received through her presence in my life.
My heart is so touched. I'm sure all of our hearts are very touched. Thank you for your vulnerability and sharing that very deep personal story, not only the medicine journey and the recent breakthrough you've had, but the pain and the wound of losing a mother so early, and how that became the very entry point for the light of the divine feminine and the goddess in your life. It reminds me of Richard Rudd, who created the Gene Keys. He talks about our suffering becomes our grace, right? Where the wound is the opening for the light to get in. So we're very grateful that you've chosen this path of healing and holding and alchemy to bring all this wisdom around the divine feminine forth for us. So I really bow to you, Marguerite.
Oh, thank you for that, Eden. So beautifully put. My goodness.
I'm inspired to share this song. I had originally thought to share another song that has so much to do with walking the path of unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, the open heart, remembering where we're going and where we're from. And as you spoke, I was like, oh, I meant to share She Rises, because it is so much about this message of our ascension and her within us and the divine feminine rising into the collective awakening. So I believe I need to share my sound again. I'll do that really quick. And my invitation is to just feel the words and dance as we listen to She Rises. If I can close some other windows and find it. Here we go. Here it is. Hopefully this will come through. Hear it? Great.
She asks us to remember to step beyond the veil. She asks asks us to surrender, drink deeply from her well. She rises from the darkness to break an ancient spell. She hands us our hearts back, new stories to tell. She rises, she rises, she rises, she rises, she rises in you, she rises in me. She rises like the sun, and she rises like the sea. A phoenix from the ashes, she rises from the flames, breaks us from our bondage and frees us from our shame. She rises, 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 untethered and free, untethered and free, untethered and free. We rise as her wings, untethered and free, untethered and free, untethered and free. We rise as her wings, we rise as her wings. She rises, 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 she rises up, she rises, she rises, she rises up, she rises up, truth, she rises, she rises.
Wowza. Wowza. Eden, you're world class.
Oh, thank you.
That's gorgeous.
I'm going to put the link for everyone to listen. It's soon going to be available on all platforms with,
Wow.
but it's brand new. So I'm going to
Wow, that
pop
is
the
wonderful.
link. If you have SoundCloud, you can easily get it for free. You can listen now again in your home, in your car there. It's and for our listeners on Facebook and YouTube, if you go to Eden Amadora on SoundCloud, you can find that.
Eden, I'm going to read a couple of the comments coming in, and then I also want to use this as an opportunity to talk about your swan alchemy. But some of the comments coming in, Christy writes, "Thank you, Eden, beautiful." Tim writes, "Wow." Dia writes, "Oh, Eden, as always, just one note, one tone, one word, and I am catapulted to somewhere indescribable. Indeed, she rises free. Thank you, and I love you always."
Love you too.
Lynn and Leaf writes, "So beautiful, powerful for us all." Karen S., great song. Ayada writes, "Eden, this is exquisitely tender and yet so powerful. Thank you." And a reminder that you can find all things Eden Amadora at edenamadora.com. And then we're going to go to this special offering that she has. So if you go to edenamadora.com/swan alchemy, a sacred feminine initiation, and tell us a little bit about this opportunity that you're offering, Eden.
Yeah, so this is a very special one-on-one program. It's rare that I have the space for something like this. This is the first year in the last 16 years. I'm not doing an online training or year-long priestess training, neither online nor in person. I'm devoting most of my time to my art, the music that's coming through, which I'm just so happy to.
Why?
Yeah. Say it again,
You
Margaret.
better.
Thank you. I know I'm very blessed to have the support to do the art now at the level that I really see priestessing in that way on stage, transmitting with the music and with other beautiful artists co-creating. So while I'm in this creation phase this year, I've decided to take a few private initiates. And this isn't for everyone. This is for people who are on a path of heart awakening and are ready to step into a private mystery school training that will catalyze a lot of soul growth. And it really requires the willingness to be initiated, which is to face patterns and shadows that you're just ready to break through, and to rise into this swan that is the balancing Marguerite so beautifully talked about between our divinity and our humanity, our sacred inner divine feminine essence and our inner masculine essence, and to do the greatest alchemical work, which is to come into balance and wholeness and harmony on the planet. Because when we do this, it ripples. It's said, I heard recently, that if there are even a group of 12 sincere beings in a highly coherent heart space able to hold the portal open, it's the equivalent to an avatar like Mother Mary. So we are needed to hold the portal open and be in the heart, in the sacred heart now more than ever. So I'm devoted to this work, and I'll do it my whole life, I'm sure. It's just that before I start touring and doing music again, this is the time to catch me for the one-on-one work. So I'm really excited for those who are stepping forward. I have 3 spaces that are left. And if you're called, you can do a free discovery call with me. One-on-one initiation that includes a private ceremonial retreat for you.
And again, everybody, this one's for women. We're going to talk a little bit later in the show about something she's got for men. But if you go to her website, edenamadora.com/swan alchemy, and then click apply here, and that will take you to the application process. And I know that a lot of the people in our Zoom room right now are have enjoyed your work over the years. It's a wonderful opportunity. So whether you're in the Zoom room or watching on Facebook or YouTube, this is a rare opportunity to work one-on-one with Eden Amadora.
Thank you, Scott.
Absolutely.
I'd love to ask Marguerite a couple other hot topic questions about Mother Mary, because this is just like, I feel like a kid in a candy store tonight. I love lifting veils. I love that process of seeing and how amazing we are, how much more there is. We've been fed such a limiting narrative for so long. So for the next question, I'm wondering if you could deepen a little bit more with the path that we've heard Mary Magdalene was devoted to. And that is, I've also spoken with William Henry about this. What was really in that alabaster jar? And were there plant medicines? Were there holy oils that may have been combined with plant medicines? Was Mother Mary also a Miraphor? Were they in this lineage together? What's real?
Yes, yes, she was. And that is documented in The Life of the Virgin by supposedly Maximus, that he names her as a Miraphor, a myrrh carrier, a myrrh bearer, and that she was the one who would have kind of in a way trained Mary Magdalene to do that and go forth. So these women were the myrrh bearers, the Miraphors, and I do believe, according to my research, my academic research, as well as my investigations on the inner planes, that they were working with sacred medicines, that these were compounds that would open people's consciousness so that they could have healing experiences, so that they could have direct source creator connection, connection with the masters and, other various dimensions, the star beings. And this is a primary way in which they taught. So it wasn't just speaking teaching, it was experiential conditions that they would set up for people, such that, what the communion was, the Jesus communion with the apostles, was giving them a sacred medicine so that they could understand, open their awareness, and then live and teach from that place. This is all about the raising of our vibration, the raising of our consciousness, the expanding of our consciousness after a very, very long time that humanity has been under wraps, under siege, closed off, and so forth. They really were here all about the reawakening of humanity, and this is continued on, and we're just seeing a new rung of the spiral with this 2,000 or so years later, where we en masse now are going into, many of us, the sacred medicine experiences where we can know far more than we do. We can feel confident that these other dimensional beings are there, that this is who we are, this is where we've been, this is where we're going, and it's all part of an experience of evolution.
Yeah, it's wonderful to kind of take the lid off of this as well. I know that the original translator of the Dead Sea Scrolls, the Essene documents, had told the establishment, the church, that they were imbibing a sacrament that was psychedelic, most likely similar, or the Amanita muscaria mushrooms, which are depicted in a lot of Christian art. And the church put the kibosh on it and wouldn't let that information out. And it makes sense if you're creating a system of control by programming people to feel less than and not directly connected to the divine, that they wouldn't want people having these expansive, revelatory, psychedelic, divine communions with plant medicines. And I mean, I'm not promoting right now the shamanic or plant medicine path per se. I'm just really with you in how important it is to bridge back to the wisdom of the indigenous people, to bridge back to shamanic cultures, and possibly weave a thread that Mother Mary and Yeshua had mystery school shamanic type training, whether it was from Egypt, India, past life remembrance, other cultural remembrance. Is there anything else you would would illuminate.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. I think it was an integral part of their training because they were coming into human bodies, and even if they were coming in as avatars, they still had to be awakened. They still had to be developed, and cultivated. And I do believe that the plant medicine was an integral, natural part of that. And yes, it's been forbidden, prohibited. There are fears that have been promulgated around it all. There's been denigration of the practice. Of course, it's, many of the substances were made illegal. The witches of Europe were killed over this sort of thing. Let's face it. Okay, their witches' brews were not just, having tea. Okay, why they were called that they had green faces is because they would put the salve. Why they were riding on broomsticks is because they would put the medication on their broomstick and put it in their vagina, to bypass the gastrointestinal system, because sometimes it can be rough and people can, develop nausea and things, as anyone working with ayahuasca or even sometimes mushrooms has experienced. So we were cut off from the knowings and the trainings in this regard, and we're having to, again, there are some unbroken medicine traditions of indigenous cultures, but by and large, we've been cut off. And so we are having to relearn from the Akashic records, draw this material from the Akashic records. And of course, the medicine itself can help you draw material from the Akashic records. So it works out really well.
Right. So we have some comments, and I just want to let you know, Connie says, yes, Marguerite, wonderfully expressed. It's a frequency thing. Our vibration is rising. There's more information in the higher frequencies. We call it the trust frequency, where laws are expanded. There's more beauty, balance, joy, freedom, and abundance than we can fathom. So Connie is really resonating with this Mother Mary frequency.
Yeah. I think also Mother Mary very much would have used the sacred medicines for conceiving Jesus. And I do talk about that in the mystery tradition of miraculous conception. And, William and I have conferred quite a bit on that she would have used any means necessary to help her go into those deeper dimensional realms that she needed in order to work with her body on that level, and in order to, conjure this star being into her womb and also resurrect him.
I want to talk more about that as well. I'm going to read one more comment here. Bridget, she is taking Amanita muscaria mushrooms microdosing legally, and has found a wealth of good information from a website called Amanita Dreamer, which she recommends if anyone's interested. So there are ways to start opening to these plant medicines legally. And I know certain states are more open than others, but again, I'm just aware of how much social conditioning, religious conditioning, and fear there is around consciousness expansion, and even certain yogas, Kundalini practices. The church would have us really fear the serpent power, the awakening of our own higher selves, our path to enlightenment. So for those who can sense that, like, is it okay? Is it wholesome? Will I still be a good person? Just really, it's a lot of deconditioning required to be.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is. And, there are more and more teachers available, guides to help with this sort of thing. I can be a consultant to people for their journeys, if you wish that. And it's important to get your mentors, to get your guides before, during, and after, especially after, one of these or more of these kinds of ceremonies, so that you can do it in an educated way, in a safe way also.
And integrate
and
well.
avoid some of the pitfalls that could happen.
I agree. Integration is key. And a lot of people, shamans might come through a town and do a big ayahuasca ceremony, and then they move on, and people are left kind of spinning without any integration. So there are
You know,
guys.
call Marguerite if that happens, all right? She's available, she'll talk you through it.
So
Yeah.
is there another way, like if someone said, okay, I read the book and I really want to go on this Mother Mary journey through microdosing, do they go to your website and reach out directly? Will you be available to do one-on-one counseling? How
Mhm.
would you like people to connect in that
Yeah.
way? Is that through your site?
Yeah, you can go to sevensistersmysteryschool.com as Scott said, and there's a mentoring or private sessions tab in the navigation bar, and you can just do in the drop down there. Yeah, if you just X that, Scott, that book thing, yeah. Right in the mentoring, just do a private clairvoyant reading with me, book one of those, and I can work with you right from the start on whatever it is that you need in that regard, be it to integrate something that's happened, prepare, and so forth. And in some cases, I work one-on-one during, like for cacao usage, which is a very, very safe way. And there are other means, but it
So,
is
so
important. And,
generous
you
of
know,
you.
in my Marian Magdalene Priestess training, our month would consist of various learning modules and experiential audios, and then a ceremony that we'd have together, either working with cacao or where legal, for people who wanted to choose that, cannabis. But cacao is a very good one because it's a heart opener and a consciousness expander. It's legal. There's very few problems that people have with it, and it's a good initiation into the medicine realm, and it's effective. And so everybody would learn and experience on a whole different way everything we had been doing in the month. And by virtue of the fact that I've been a journeyer in these realms now, what I was finding is that I would bring the people into my space, into my oracle space, and they would be on the journey with me. And that's the Eleusinian mysteries, where those priestesses and priests would bring 3,000 people into their camp. And all of a sudden they're seeing Demeter and Persephone and so we are learning and experiencing the mysteries of the Marys while also learning this material intellectually. So it's intuition and intellect have to work together. So these are, some initial steps of working with the Marys as miraphors, so to speak.
Yeah, powerful. I'm glad I asked about the plant medicine and how cacao is a very gentle bridge for people. I know Jennifer was concerned not wanting to go through illegal substances, maybe where she lives, or psychotropic substances. So my sense is, and you can correct me if or say more, Marguerite, that there's so many ways to access these teachings without even needing a physical substance. And that for those who want to expand more with the plant medicine, it is a good tool as well.
That's right. That's right. I mean, there are so many ways, and all of our ceremonies are, cacao or cannabis optional, and a lot of people don't even need that. They'll already just go into the field, or they're already quite open. Simple meditation, simple prayer work puts you into an altered state of consciousness, the open state. That's the easiest, way. For some people, that's plenty enough. You'll start having direct experiences, you'll start having dreams, you'll start having synchronicities. Be on the lookout for that, because that's how we connect with spirit, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
In the
It's funny, you're talking about synchronicity. I just got a text message that came in from a friend named Victoria Shaw saying, Scott, I know you're occupied with your show, but I had to tell you, I just bought Marguerite's book, and then I see that she's on your show tonight. And as you were talking about synchronicity, I was reading that text that just came into my phone.
Because this is how Mother Mary works, and this is how the masters work, and this is how our own out-picturing of our own creative soul works.
May I share another?
Just orchestrated that. You know what I mean? It's
I have another beautiful synchronicity to share. So, right after Scott asked me to be on the show, I was in Santa Fe doing a meditation retreat, and my beloved friend said, I really love when you sing in other languages. Why don't you consider singing a song about Mother Mary or to Mother Mary in Spanish? Because so much of the world speaks that language, and especially in the Catholic community that loves Mother Mary so much. And then the waitress came up to our table wearing a Mother Mary pendant. And I was like, okay, that's a synchronicity. That's a confirmation, a wink from beyond the veil.
a
And then
wink.
a wink from the goddess, from Mother Mary beyond the veil, right?
That is right. And I talk in my book, The Secret Life of Mother Mary, about how I found my house through Mother Mary, through these synchronicities that she appeared, and I'm like, oh my God, the woman selling the house was named Mary on top of it all. So it's a marvelous dance when we really open to those miracles and those synchronicities, and we realize, wow, this could happen all the time if only I'm just paying attention or putting it out there that I'm available.
It gets really fun. It starts to become like a beautiful ride where you're like, I wonder what magical and unexpected thing will happen today.
Yes, exactly.
Just before our show, before our sound check, I finished a discovery call with a potential male client to take him through the sacred masculine initiations. And I asked him, because he's in the tech world, in a place that isn't very woo. And I'm like, how did you resonate with me? Like, what brought you to me? And he said, okay, I haven't told very many people, but I've been receiving visitations from the lady. Have you heard of the lady? And I'm like, are you talking about potentially Mother Mary? And he said that she says she's called many names, and he named all these other names, and he's receiving information. And I'm like, nothing you could say would make me think you're weird. You're in the right place. This is
Wow, amazing.
yeah.
And see how this is operating? I mean, in the halls of Silicon Valley or wherever it is, my gosh.
Amazing. Yes, she is getting into the places that need it the most, especially with the tech and we're at this critical juncture where if our hearts awaken to match the technology, imagine the beauty of the world we can co-create right now. This is what I'm holding for humanity. That's what this new age is about, what's possible.
It is important for us to hold those visions because that's a magical process too. Whether we do it individually in our prayer work or in groups, right? And this is also part of the being a Mary. It's a way for us to collect ourselves, and it's a structure by which we can do this work. So the women that I have that are in the level 2 of the training are now getting really serious about how they want their service to look. And part of it is, co-creating those visions, being in prayer circles, prayer work, etc.
We are so, so powerful if we can hold a vision and align all of our thoughts to that vision and feel the feelings of that. Thank you for that beautiful vision. It is an incredible power. So just for everybody watching this who might think, oh, what can I do in the world when you feel overwhelmed, when you feel like, tuning into the news or the little rectangles and all the, that social media can bombard us with information that makes us feel disempowered. We have the power to hold a frequency, a much higher vision together. And that's just what I'm devoted to, holding that vision together.
Blessed be. Well, you're the real thing.
So are you. I'm so happy to be here with you. I'm happy that we're both transmitting in this way right now.
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
one more hot question, and then I know there's a lot of people sharing there's a lot going on. They're having fun about the plant medicine. We'll get back to that. But
Okay.
I feel like it's important important to honor that the resurrection happened, and Mother Mary was a big part of that. And, a lot of times we're looking at, is it metaphor? Is it real? What's possible in our ascension process? What did she have to do with that?
Yeah. Well, on the very literal level, again, the Hindu saint Sri Kaleshwar, about whose teachings I write quite a bit in the book, one whole chapter is in The Secret Life of Mother Mary, is devoted to this. He says that literally through her womb powers cultivated through years and lifetimes of mantra practice and, connection with Mother Divine, talking to the angels, all of these sorts of things, that when Jesus was that Jesus and Mother Mary were working together on the astral plane with various yogas, Atma Kandana Yoga and Parakaya Pravesh, which one is taking the soul out mostly out of the body, but leaving a little piece in. That's Atma Kandana Yoga, I believe. And then the Parakaya Pravesh is bringing the body back to life. So bringing the soul back in. So these are things that are miraculous powers, acidic powers that sadhus and gurus can do. And so it's not like that woo-woo, like if you consider world traditions. It's just that in this Western tradition, we've never had that concept applied that, oh, this is an actual yoga, these are yogas. And so, but they were working together so that when Jesus kind of quote lifeless body came off the cross, Mother Mary had time with his body to put him on her lap like the Pietà, like Michelangelo's Pietà, and spin him back in, like reconstruct him, bring him back to life. Now, Kaleshwar is basically claiming that he literally came back to life and walked the earth and went to India.
I've heard that as well.
Okay. Whether you hold to that reality or the timeline of, well, she resurrected him onto the other side, which would be more like my spiritual teacher who did that without knowing it of her son who had taken his life, but she went through this like birthing process when she found him, and it was crazy. And then when she read this material, she's like, oh my God, that's what happened to me. I'm like, yeah, you resurrected your son. So I think it can happen on both levels. And I always tell people, just take the story that works for you, because that's your medicine. If it's medicine for you to believe that those tales of like Jesus showing up to the apostles he was really in the room, which freaked them out enough because like, didn't he just die over there? Or whether it was kind of on the astral plane or some intermediate, just take what works for you. And it might be that a different timeline gives you medicine at different times, and we don't have to argue about this. The point is, what is resurrection? It's not just for Jesus alone. It's for all of us. In fact, in April, in my Mary and Magdalene Empowerment Circle, the Marys are going to take us through our own resurrection. Because in my medicine journeys, I was shown, oh, did you know that you can resurrect yourself? It's like, well, what does that mean? Well, it's a kind of a soul retrieval. It's a kind of a releasing of the trauma of everything, all the attacks that have been upon you and the whole entire human family. Like that's why the Holy Family came to begin with. They're just one manifestation grouping that came because they're like, hey, we know you people are sick of the archons, so are we. And we're going to love them to death, and we're going to just liberate you from all of this stuff that's upon you, that is plaguing you as a part of your, all the interference with the human family. They're like, this shouldn't have happened, and yet it was perfect. And we are going to help you with this. And it's part of your awakening. So you can thank these archonic forces for allowing you to have this awakening. And let's get on with it and move so that we don't have to remain in suffering, but that we can move into the joyful, new, Edenic realm
I feel your sacred fire, your passion when you
Yeah.
talk of these things. It's really palpable. I have shivers on my body.
Yeah.
Truth bumps, resonance. And
Mhm.
for those who are kind of tuning into some of the language, I just wanted to kind of wind back a little bit to the Gnostic myth for people around the difference between what Jesus taught through Mary's wisdom and lineage, that their God was the pleroma, their God was the oneness, the wholeness of divine love, where the other kind of Yahweh figure of the Old Testament may not necessarily be that all loving wholeness and unity consciousness from which they emerged. And in the myth of Sophia, there is a story about this all-loving pleroma, that anthropos, the spark of the human, the true human, it in its curiosity and its drive to be, to manifest, it leaves the oneness. And Sophia, for her love of anthropos, she leaps out from the syzygy, which is like a yin yang, with the Christos. And she leaps out into form, Sophia Gaia, a place for anthropos to blossom and be, manifest, third dimensional. It's said that in the coming into the density of form, her being was kind of rent asunder, that there was this tear, there was this kind of, for the purity she came from, to densify herself into 3D, there was the need or the appearance of polarity. Something came out of her divine wisdom, divine love, divine feminine essence. And that entity became this, we would call it like the source of all the archonic polarity in this realm. So it's a very old myth of duality. And
Yeah.
my understanding is that the greatest alchemy is the holy union, the holy matrimony,
Yeah.
back within the heart and the sacred heart of the Sophia Christos.
Yeah.
And in that holy matrimony, those other forces, there's no opposite. Love knows no opposite at that level.
That's
So
right.
the work you're doing is in service to this great awakening, to that ascension process.
Blessed be. Yes, it is, because in the Marian Magdalene priestess training, we go through a version, a rung of the bridal chamber. And I think there are many rungs of the bridal chamber, and there are many iterations you can go through the bridal chamber. Like, oh, this time I'm going to unify this aspect of myself. This time it's going to be this aspect. And I believe that Mother Mary unified all those aspects, which is what allowed her to conceive divinely, give divine birth. She became the wholeness and then was able to bring forth from her cosmic womb. Okay, which is the cosmic womb of all of us. So it's not just a Mother Mary game. It's her showing us what we all are and are capable of, and having, sidekicks like Sri Kaleshwar to give us the mantras and the tools and the things like that where we can actually get started on. And I and Diana and others do teach the Holy Womb Chakra teachings. All right, because we have been certified in that. And so, right. So these are processes, practices that are available. And I talk about this in The Secret Life of Mother Mary. This is like getting on with the clam bake. Not just la la, Mother Mary. It's like, okay, what does this mean for us today? How can we live better lives? How can we have more loving lives? How can we feel better? How can we heal this world? How can we come out of this good evil polarity and bring it back together to love light? Magenta Pixie's like, well, in the, in the higher dimensions, the duality is love and light. It's like, I'm going there. That's all the duality I need.
That's so awesome. Yes to that. So for those listening here, Scott, maybe you can, I just am so excited about the fact that you're offering tools, mantras, womb meditations, practical embodiment teachings to be a part of this process right
Mhm.
here, right now. First
Yeah.
for yourself, and then all great work like that, even though it's like, I don't want to be in pain anymore, it ripples into the collective. It's absolutely for the one.
Yeah.
So there's so
Yeah.
many great comments here. I'm going to read a couple of them for you, Margarita. I'll start with George's. He's talking about Lord Sananda, Jesus Father, helped Mary. There was birth. I mean, we can talk about like the story of Jesus being a father, even. That's something that's also, untold stories.
Yes.
Yeah, for the other Mary, Mary Magdalene as the bride. Yes, so Holy Sophia, says Christy, one of the most suppressed stories. Yes.
That's right.
Deb Diara says in shamanic astrology, we teach about the sacred inner marriage. Yes.
That could be.
Connie is saying, I'm so happy to hear you speak that reality beyond right, wrong, good, evil. Bravo. It's a frequency where the new reality lives and is a big leap for humanity. Unity that honors multiplicity, dazzling diversity, all inclusive. That's a divine mother. Embracing.
Yeah.
Dia Therese, spin him back in. Wow, she's really all like the story of the resurrection. Spin him in, spiral action. Wow, yes, Marguerite, I love what you just said regarding the archons and the divine family. Come in to love them out of their darkness.
Yeah.
This has been the wildest and this this interview has been the wildest and quintessentially recharging.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
been.
Because, to go riff on that one, Diana, Kelly, and I have talked a lot over the years. I think we've independently received that, well, there's going to have to be a whole bunch of forgiveness going on of these very forces, these very extra dimensional forces that have been pressing upon us
Yes.
and have been invading and possessing and all this and that. And, like, okay, yes, it's all about love and light, but it is also about, if you want love and light, you got to go through the darkness. You better take a look, because it's not going to go away by us putting our head in the sand, right? We do have to go through that initiation. And that's why sometimes the medicine can be a tough taskmaster, because you will go through those realms. That is why it is helpful to have somebody holding your hand to get through those initiations. And then, what do we do with the information? Okay, there's a lot of information going on right now about what's what and what's going on. What's going on at the deeper levels, these things that'll curdle your blood. And so who's responsible for that? And what do we do when we uncover it? And then what do we do when we find out that I am that too? I am that, through our own DNA from these beings. It's wound right into us through our own past lives and various scenarios, so it's this is not for the faint of heart. And this is not, spirituality light over here, right? This is real, and it's what's going on in our world right now. And every time you turn on the media and you're like, wow, who's putting that program out and who's doing that? And whew, and we just have to breathe through the fear that gets generated.
Yeah.
So all of this is initiatory. We're all going through an initiation, essentially. Another level of an ongoing initiation on planet Earth until we're like, wait a minute. How do I really crack out of that
Right. Well,
illusory
you have to
thing?
go all the way in to go
Yeah,
all the way
gotta go
through.
all the way. And that's why, the Marys and Yeshua are here to help us and others. The extended Holy Family, John the Baptist, Elizabeth, his mother, right? So many of them.
Diana, do you want to speak anything to this as well? I can feel you resonating so strongly right now.
Just staying connected. There is so much going on, but not losing our humanity. I really feel that our empathy is our humanity, and that is currently up for grabs at the same time that we have AI coming on strong. And I'm just praying that we all can just hang on to that humanity, that empathy, that compassion, and not lose that.
Yeah.
Yes. May that
Yeah,
be.
blessed be. And this is where the Marys help so much, because they're not about the Catholic stultifying version of that. They are about the real hard-won version of that. Wise compassion, wise love, adult level of
Mm.
these things.
Yeah,
I
taking
just
all
want
the
to say
pain.
one more thing about that, if I could, is the Sophia Christos. The Christ is very much the love, and the Sophia is the wisdom, and you really have to have the two.
Yeah.
You know, and the wisdom is so important. That is where our spiritual maturity really, we're being asked to be the adults in the room.
That's right. Absolutely. You know, and for me personally, like I had a lot of like wisdom initiations, right? All my years in California, but I had to kind of cultivate my heart just a little teeny tiny bit more. But that had to happen through a healing, you know, these massive healings that I've experienced in working with Mama Cacao to actually feel what is it to be in my heart. Right? When you grow up traumatized as a child, you're just frightened all the time. So how do I relax? How do I come into my heart, right? These are all the Edenic things, the cacao spirit that perhaps has come from the Pleiades, I've learned. You know, they show us what the emotional tone is, what the feeling is. And again, we can cultivate this through meditations and things like that. But whatever way we are being encouraged to do that, cultivate the sense of peace. That's why Jesus was all about peace, right? Cultivate that sense of peace.
My dove's out here.
Yes, right?
I I need to come in just because we're at 8 o'clock, and which is 11 p.m. for Marguerite. So I want to be protective of you and your sleep cycle.
I'm having fun.
Good, okay. And this is an amazing, one of my favorite shows. You know, next week we're celebrating our 5-year anniversary of doing these shows. And I gotta say, this is one of my favorite ones. And I know I'm seeing similar things from our regular audience members. So much new information. I love learning about the connection to the Pleiades. I've always related to the Pleiades, so that personally really touches me. And Diana, how wonderful to have you jump in. And I want to anchor in something she said, because I want to make sure it didn't get lost, which is the combination of the Christ consciousness of love with the Sophia wisdom, because we do need both, not intelligence, but
Right.
wisdom.
Wisdom.
And it's such a difference from the way most of us have been culturally raised to think that, you know, man is smart and women are love. But I actually love the flip of it, that actually, no, it's the Sophia, divine feminine, is the wisdom. And the divine masculine, as exemplified through Yeshua, is the love principle. So I wanted to make sure that got anchored in for people, because I think that's a powerful reframe.
This
Yeah.
has been an incredible conversation with you, Marguerite. I am just so thrilled to have been invited and to learn so much from you tonight. Thank you so much for your generosity, for sharing so deeply. And I really pray that people catching this on YouTube, Facebook, that they get the links that we shared as well. Scott's probably going to drop them all over the place later so that they can study with you and reach out to you and receive your wisdom.
Thank you. I would love it. Yeah, I mean, these are the ways that we let people know what's going on. So thank you so much for that opportunity to spread the word. And thank you, Eden, for being such a great I don't know, master of ceremonies or what, priestess of interview, whatever we want to call you. I mean, just amazing. Yeah, and just what a wonderful container and forum, Scott. Thank you.
My pleasure. And I do want to show a few of those links one more time. For Eden, all things Eden live at EdenAmadora.com, her name, EdenAmadora.com. Lots of things you can learn how to work with her, about her priestess training. And she does have a program coming up for men. So I'm going to pull that up, Eden, and because I know we've got men who are going, well, what about me? So tell us a little bit about this program for men.
So in days of old, the priestesses would they would attend to the kings and the warrior chiefs, and they would help guide them, help them integrate from battle, help them find center again, and to come back to their heart. And the way that I work with men is primarily working with a few very sacred masculine archetypes. I do one-on-one sessions on Zoom. And for those who want to go very deep, after working with me for 6 months, I will do a private ceremony. And that ceremony includes their own unique ceremony, what serves them and their consciousness the most, to come into balance, to come back into the heart, to be balanced between that leader archetype, the lover archetype that wants to have ways of understanding the feminine and communicating and holding a safe space, and their steward archetype, which is the sacred space holder for the collective, for Gaia, for the balance here, that we come back to the sacred masculine as stewards of Gaia and the feminine, the innocent and life, the right relationship. So there are many men that feel very out of balance. They have been putting the brain on the altar, the left brain. And the work I do is deep guided visualization journeys, meditations, embodiment practices, and one-on-one wisdom counseling, and simply to be witnessed in unconditional love and compassion. And some of these codes that Marguerite's been speaking of around forgiveness and self-forgiveness, very key pieces for the masculine to heal, especially now. So I'm excited for the men who step forward. They often think, oh, that's a feminine priestess thing, like the ceremonial work. It's not. Priestesses have served all beings since millennia. So I'm here for all beings.
Beautiful.
That's
Thank
brilliant.
you. So important, so beautiful. And I also want, there's so many things that both Eden and Marguerite provide. It's really quite extraordinary. There's one other thing that I want to make sure that our audience knows about, and that is a monthly Mary and Magdalene Empowerment Circle that is part of the Seven Sisters Mystery School. And Marguerite, can you tell our audience a little bit about this while I kind of scroll through that particular?
Yeah, this is a monthly place where you can drop in to receive a guided journey in which I'm bringing forth energies of Mary and Magdalene on a specific theme, a different theme each month of use to us for our present day time. Sometimes it's more geared toward healing. Sometimes it's more geared toward receiving empowerments, strengthenings, spiritual codings, and so forth. We go through this beautiful journey, and then people get a lot of information for themselves. They write it down. We share about it in chat, and then I will offer an oracle for everyone, a kind of a cosmic Q&A for whatever's come up from that journey or what's going on in the world in general. So it's just a nice way to reconnect in with the Marys and your higher self each month.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much, Marguerite. I know it's we're probably at time. Scott, is it time to say goodbye? Does Mashar have a closing song, or do we just?
We are going to do a closing song with Omashar, but I want to just one last time thank both of you for a powerful evening. And this is one of those shows, everybody, take the recording. I'll send it out to all of our subscribers, share it with friends, because this was so rich. And of course, this will live forever on our YouTube channel and all the Facebook pages. But let's share this out, because this was very, very powerful and profound. Thank you both. I'm going to go to gallery view where people can twinkle and people with their cameras on send their love and appreciation. And thank you also, Diana, for being with us. And of course, Christy Michaels, who in the beginning there was Christy. And Christy begat Diana, and Diana begat Marguerite, and so on and so forth. So, thank you.
It's just a whole virgin birth cascade.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and thanking the Marys, all the Marys from all times, out into the Pleiades and beyond.
Absolutely. And to celebrate the masculine who comes through in such a beautiful way, we are going to close with a song from Omashar.
It's by thy grace that I see. It's by thy grace that I see. It's by thy grace that I see your holy name. It's by thy grace that I feel. It's by thy grace that I feel. It's by thy grace that I feel your holy name. Someday the day shall come when all the glory shall be thine. People will say it is yours, and I shall deny, not mine. It's by thy grace, hallelujah, that I see. It's by thy grace that I see. It's by thy grace that I see your holy name. It's by thy grace that I feel. It's by thy grace that I feel. It's by thy grace that I feel your holy name. Someday the day shall come when all the glory shall be thine. People will say it is yours, but I shall deny, not mine. Sophia. Allah, Jehovah, Brahma, Maria, Sophia. And peace to all, life to all, love to all. Peace to all, life to all, love to all. Keep that going. Peace to all, life to all, love to all. Keep it going. Your holy name, life to all. Your holy name, your holy name to all, your holy name. It's by thy grace that I feel, it's by thy grace that I feel, it's by thy grace that I feel your holy name, your holy name. And peace to all, life to all, love to all. Peace to all, life to all, love to all. Your holy name, your holy name, your holy name.
Big twinkles, lots and lots of love to Omashar, to Eden, Marguerite, Diana, Christy, and each and every one of you. And lots of love to all of our friends watching on YouTube. So many people watching on Facebook right now have been commenting. So it's been a very, very powerful and beautiful show. I do want to mention a couple of quick things. This Saturday night, you want to make sure you're in the Zoom room because it's going to be another soul search evening with psychic readings and healings. But you got to be in the Zoom room so that you can receive that. So make sure you're with us live in the Zoom room on Saturday night. And for those of you who are not subscribers, now's the time to subscribe. We're just about to start our spring season. Next week it begins. This is the last week of the winter season. So go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com. Then just you can learn all about our upcoming shows and what we're doing. And then click register for the new season. That'll take you to our registration page. Lots of different ways you can come in and participate. You'll immediately get the Zoom room links for all of our shows from now all the way through the end of June. We always do a show on Wednesday night and Saturday night. And once, twice a month, we do a Sacred Sunday show and special offerings. Coming up is our 5-year anniversary show. I believe Eden's going to be joining us for that, along with a lot of our favorite people. And you, we're going to be hearing from some of those of you who've been longtime Global Peace Tribe members. So that's going to be a really fun show. All right. Thank you, everybody. And let's really do our best to practice what we've heard today. Let's practice whatever tools, whatever inspirations you've received from Eden and from Marguerite. And for Mother Mary, perhaps it's just really opening your heart to having your own direct experience of Mother Mary, or the Marys, as Eden pointed out. But let's take this beautiful space that we're in and apply it. And thank you, everybody. So honored to be with each and every one of you. I'm going to go to Gallery View one last time for now, and we'll see you all on Saturday night, hopefully. Take care, everybody. Have a good evening.